Sunny days and friendly smiles walk the halls with me. Studio 415. Watch the news unfold. Navigate all moments. Students today create our future. Come and join the fun. Studio 415.
Cloudy days and there's no smiles. Stay at home and sleep. Studio quarantine. Watch the news unfold. This is getting old. My house is really boring.
Studio 415. Sunny days and friendly smiles walk the halls with me. Studio 415. Watch the news unfold. Navigate all moments. Students today create our future. Come and join the fun. Studio 415. Studio 415.
Hello, and welcome to our first of 5 live Studio 415 shows.
On today's show, you'll hear a few things that teachers think that they can and can't say in the classroom.
You'll hear students and administrators discuss the abrupt change to the spring play in February.
And you'll hear students react to the price of Carroll's student parking passes.
All of that and more coming up next.
I definitely start a piece and don't really know where it's going.
When my students leave my room, they shouldn't know if I'm Republican, Democrat, conservative, liberal.
That this is going to become divisive for our students and for our kids.
Hello and welcome. We are coming to you live from Studio 415. I'm Hudson Zom.
And I'm Stella Brewer of Artanian.
Carroll's spring play production is approaching, but controversy surrounds the original selection for the production and the administration's actions towards it.
In my story, I examine the spring play production and the decisions surrounding it. Marian, or The True Story of Robin Hood, is a play written in 2017 by Adam Simkowitz. A modern take on the classic folktales of Robin Hood, the play follows Maid Marian in disguise as Robin Hood, as she leads a group of merry men, most of whom are not men, against the greedy Prince John. Marian was selected in January as Carroll's spring drama production for this April after it was approved by a member of Carroll's administration and greenlit by the director, Emily Grillo. Because Marian features queer representation, such as a non-binary character and a gay couple, students were advised that they may face backlash and harassment from homophobic people if they chose to participate in the play. During auditions, students were given a form that asked if they would be comfortable with playing a queer character and if their parents would allow them to do so. On the second day of auditions on February 23rd, over a dozen adults and parents within the NACS district called the Carroll administration in protest against the play because it included queer characters. Some of those who called reportedly used, quote-unquote, threatening tones, but the Carroll administration claims that no threats of violence were made. The following morning on the 24th, the play was canceled by the Carroll administration due to quote-unquote safety concerns. However, many in the student body were angered by the cancellation, and an anonymous user called CM started a petition on change.org on February 24th. CM has chosen to remain anonymous due to quote-unquote safety reasons. The petition to allow CHS to go on with their production of Marian originally hoped to receive 250 signatures, but as of March 28th, the petition has received 5,266 signatures. Some of the signees include Adam Simkowitz, the author of Marian, Joe Iconis, a playwright and the composer for hit musical Be More Chill, and Paula Vogel, a Pulitzer Prize-winning playwright. 2 days after the petition's creation, the account that the petition was posted from was transferred to Carroll student and president of the Gay Straight Alliance, Caitlin Gully. Since then, the play's cancellation has continued to receive backlash. At a school board meeting on February 27th, 29 comments were made during the meeting's audience comments section. Most of those who spoke did so about the play, with the majority of speakers condemning the play's cancellation.
And this is not political, this is not religious, that is none of it. We're trying to represent and make everybody feel included, and we want to be safe with one another.
Now, Carroll High School has taught its students that it has its students' back, that its students should not fear who they are for their beliefs, that NACS is a safe space. However, when it actually came down to it, when a community within NACS needed that support, the representation that we claim to strive for and accept, they gave in to 11 phone calls from community members.
By taking down this play, you're turning your back on the Carroll Theater Department. You're turning your back on the queer students at CHS, and you're following the opposite of that message. You're teaching students to fold at the first sign of struggle.
Later in that meeting, Superintendent Wayne Barker supported Million's decision and claimed that the play was not canceled out of discrimination, but due to safety concerns.
This came down to an issue where our principal felt that it was going to be an unsafe activity for our students to participate in because of how divisive it was becoming, even with students who were wanting to participate.
Additionally, school board member Darren Vogt defended the play's cancellation by arguing in a Wayne 15 interview that the play's queer representation could be quote-unquote embarrassing for some of the cast and crew's family members. Carroll principal Cleve Millian, who made the decision to cancel Marion, says that he pulled the play because he believed the controversy surrounding it took focus away from the play itself.
So looking at that, it was obvious that this was no longer going to be about individuals' talent or their skill or their ability to memorize lines and perform. It was going to become about something else. And so for the well-being of everybody, the decision was made.
Recently, the play Puffs, or 7 Increasingly Eventful Years at a Certain School of Magic and Magic, was selected for students to perform as a replacement for Marion. Puff, a parody of the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling, will be performed by Carroll students in April. However, the opposition to Marion's cancellation hasn't stopped. The coverage of the incident has expanded outside of Northwest Allen County, with Playbill, a theater magazine with about 2 million different visitors every month, covering Marion's cancellation at Carroll. A Twitter and an Instagram account under the handles of We Want Marion has also been created as a quote-unquote center for all things to do with Carroll High School's cancellation of Marion. Caitlin Goley, president of the Carroll GSA, explains why she believes that having queer characters in school plays matters.
And having queer people be present in the play with like queer characters, I think that's really important for especially the younger students that come to see our plays, and for like the younger grades, like freshmen and sophomore, to really see that like you have a place here, you are welcome here, and that you're not alone.
At an LGBTQ+ rights rally on March 11th at the Fort Wayne Courthouse, Gully announced that she and a collection of other Carroll students would be pursuing the idea of performing an independent production of Marion.
I feel like the intent of having the play and putting on an independent production of it is to show the people who didn't want it to be put on that it's still going to happen, no matter what you say, no matter what you do, no matter how you speak to us or speak of us. We're here, and we're not going anywhere anytime soon.
In the meantime, Gully offers the following words of advice to queer students at Carroll.
If you are a queer student at Carroll, just stay positive. You're not alone. There's a whole bunch of us. And just to be cheesy, like, we're queer, we're here, and you've got a place at Carroll.
With Puff set to perform in April and students pursuing an independent production of Marion, it seems that in both cases, the show will go on. For Studio 415, I'm Stella Brewer-Vartanian. Recent controversies at Carroll and the response of some staff members have made students wonder what teachers are allowed to say in the classroom.
Studio 415 reporter Ryan Pashy had the opportunity to speak to the staff of Carroll to get their perspective on the matter.
With the responsibility that comes with being an educator at Carroll, a set of guidelines are imposed on the content and opinions teachers are allowed to share to their students. According to the state, public school educators are not allowed to promote a stance on religion, politics, or personal beliefs to a class. However, teachers are able to allow students to express themselves and their beliefs if the subject is related to the topic of discussion. Carroll staff is not only limited in what they say, but also in what they teach. In AP Psychology, Module 54 deals with the human development of sexuality and was taken out of Carroll's curriculum. AP Psych and Social Studies teacher Jordan Fernandez says that some decisions are at the state level other than the local level.
A law was passed, it's Senate Bill 65 by the state of Indiana, and I can kind of tell you part of that law. It said access to materials relating to instruction on human sexuality requires consent for participation. And so our interpretation of that law was that if we wanted to talk about the content of that module, that we needed to get parent permission for that.
Instead of asking for parent permission, the administration settled on getting rid of the module altogether. Aside from the content of the curriculum, every educator's method for teaching may vary. When a teacher is giving commentary on a subject of discussion, students or parents may interpret their speech as biased. CHS Principal Cleve Millian states that problems that arise in the classroom do not happen often, but still occur nonetheless.
Maybe a couple times a year we'll kind of get a concern from sometimes a student, sometimes it's a parent, just about like they felt like maybe a teacher crossed that line and shared their own opinion or their own belief, and it was maybe contrary to what they believe or contrary to their belief, and so they didn't feel like there was equal sharing of the two sides.
Million believes that issues should be dealt with on a case-by-case basis and that teachers and students should still be able to build the appropriate relationships necessary for a productive classroom. The rather vague state regulations leave room for instructor interpretation, and while students may not hear anything obscene during the school day, many teachers do not hesitate to express themselves to the school. Noel Beckley, the newspaper and novels teacher, believes that students require more personality from their teachers than the state recommends.
Some teachers don't believe in, giving a lot of their opinions, which I get and I respect that. I'm on the other side going, well, we all do have biases. I just try to make mine, aware. I think you can probably see the poster behind my head as the president that I worked for in 2008.
Beckley sees biases as something that shouldn't be ignored when preparing students for adulthood. However, this may not be the intention of every outspoken teacher. Kyle Wood, U.S. history and government teacher, takes a different approach. He wishes to protect students from possible persuasion towards any view in his teaching.
That's also part of the job, is getting students to see the conversation in as unbiased way as possible, which again is pretty hard. But at the same time, when you sign up as an educator, like you're a facilitator there, you're not trying to pound down a belief system on someone.
Wood personally sees that he and his colleagues, for the most part, avoid speaking their stances on religion, politics, and politicians because of this. Along with the limits on teacher voices, the occasional conflicting factor of apparent input has also been questioned. Fernandez believes that as a mother herself, that both perspectives are important.
Public educators are employed by the government, so we follow those state standards. The government of Indiana tells us what we should teach, what we should spend our time on, and parents pay taxes, parents vote for the people who kind of have an influence on what those standards are, and so I do think they have a right to kind of make sure that we're following what the state has told us we should be educating our students on.
Both Fernandez and Wood mentioned that a class of students are a captive audience, a term used for any audience without much of a choice as to whether they listen. Because of this, they are trained not to speak on topics that may be uncomfortable or bothersome. On the other hand, some community members believe avoiding these topics can only make issues worse. Scott Chapman, a chemistry teacher at Carroll, believes that he and his colleagues should not censor discussions based on differing opinions.
I would love to say that it's truly unbiased, but I think if you look at the extreme positions that a small group of parents have been pushing over the last couple of years, and the desire not to have controversy has actually created a situation where we're not always being fair to every group.
The First Amendment protects teachers and students' rights to freedom of speech in school. However, the right of a parent to know what their child is being taught will ensure that this topic will be debated for years to come. For Studio 415, I'm Ryan Pashy.
The system of paying to park at Carroll has been in place longer than some people can remember.
Studio 415 reporter Brianna Fuller looks into how students and staff feel about the parking passes and an inside look into how the checking process goes each morning.
Currently, parking passes at Carroll cost a total of $30 or $20 for the second semester. To buy a parking pass, students must bring their money to the front office, sign a slip that signifies they have paid, and exchange both for a red and white octagonal sticker. This sticker is usually placed on the bottom left side of the front windshield. According to a survey sent out by Studio 415, when asked how the students felt about the price of the passes and what price would be most reasonable, Carroll students agreed on an average of $10 to $15. In this survey, students also expressed confusion for what the money is being used for. Assistant Superintendent Brandon Bidding explains why these passes cost as much as they do.
If you look at just the student lot, there's about 9 acres of parking lot space that is designed for the student lot area, and that 9 acres, that takes a lot of treatment in the winter, whether that's salt application or just the machinery that it takes to clear that lot off.
This money pays for the asphalting, resurfacing, and restriping of the lot to keep it safe and looking clean. Although $30 may seem like a lot, students at Dwenger pay $50 for 2 semesters, $25 for 1 semester, and $15 for a 4th quarter. They also have a system that involves assigned in-number parking spaces, as well as an extra $10 if you lose or damage your sticker. For the check-in process, every morning, Officer Butler or Officer Roger drives around the lot to make sure everyone has a pass to ensure our safety in the school and the parking lot.
The checking process for the permits, they're initiated heavily at the start of the school year. Once everyone's in there, once everyone's in the routine, we're always monitoring the traffic flow anyway. always looking for safety of cars, lights on, etc. But then we start looking for parking permits. There is usually the leeway with the front office because it takes some time to get everyone registered.
The students here at Carroll have varying options about these passes. Senior Grant Holman believes that $30 may be too much.
I mean, honestly, I think $30 for a parking pass is a little ridiculous because, I mean, down at Anthus, I got like a classmates from Leo, and their parking passes are about $1 of each. Which, I mean, I know the school-based enterprises is sort of like a nonprofit organization, and it's only like $2 to print off the pass and everything.
Even though there are students who strongly disagree with the price and purpose of the passes, some students think otherwise.
That's obviously expensive, so they got to pay that back somehow. And so it seems reasonable that we have to pay for a service that, like an optional service, because we could ride the bus and we have other options. And so it's, if you want to use the parking lot, you have to pay for it. So it seems reasonable.
For future drivers at Carroll, please listen to the announcements for more information on parking passes or see Tammy Royer in the front office. For Studio 415, I'm Brianna Fuller.
Art teachers Scott Kilmer and Tara Turner have been educating the young artists of Carroll High School for many years.
This coming April, they have decided to take their artistry out of the classroom and into their very own art show. In my story, I share all the details about Turner, Kilmer, and their art show.
On April 21st, Scott Kilmer and Tara Turner are holding Earth, Water, and Oil, an art show at Lifehouse Church from 5 to 8 p.m. Everyone is welcome to attend. Earth, Water, and Oil is free to visit, but there will be paintings, prints, and pottery for sale. 10% of all proceeds from Kilmer and Turner's sales will also be donated to Lifehouse Church. Art teacher Tara Turner feels as though an art show is the next step within both of their careers.
Our reasons for having a show, Mr. Kilmer and I kind of talked about it, and with him getting ready to retire, and I'm at the 20-year mark in my career, it's just kind of like a natural progression for us.
Turner has been focused on the medium of ceramic art for the past 15 years. Like any artist, as she continues to create, Turner develops her ceramic skills further. Her passion for art comes from watching her mother paint when she was around 5 or 6. Turner has been creating art ever since. She only grew serious about art in high school. It was then she realized that art was something she wanted to pursue as a career, not just a hobby. Even after 20 years, Turner still has an appreciation for her craft.
My favorite part about creating art is probably the fact that I work a little bit like I fly by the seat of my pants, so I don't really have a plan in mind. And the funny part is Mr. Kilmer is the exact opposite.
As Kilmer nears the end of his 38 years of teaching, he has always wanted to have an art show to advertise to his students, school faculty, and the community. Kilmer has hosted an art show in the past, and when he pitched the idea of having a shared art show with Turner, she jumped on the idea.
And she perked right up, and I could tell that she was excited about it too. And I said, I'll take the lead here. If you want me to take the ball and run with it and get this set up, we'll do it. And she agreed, and so one thing led to another.
Kilmer specializes in painting. Kilmer developed his painting style after going to a watercolor workshop led by painter Mitchell Toll. Kilmer was inspired by Toll's painting technique, and through years of practice, Kilmer became confident enough with this technique to take his art to a gallery. As Kilmer developed his technique, he came across several challenges, specifically regarding the transparency of glass. How could he convey an object through glass? When he began painting tulips in a clear glass vase, slowly the pieces came together.
Well, the analogy I like to use in class is that when you're putting a puzzle together, if you got 5 pieces, you can't tell what the image is. You got 10 pieces, you can't tell what the image is. And all of a sudden you get enough pieces and the image starts to appear. Well, that's the same when you're painting glass. You have to get enough of the parts in there to create that illusion.
While both of the art teachers are creating art, they are also influencing their students. Jessica Luby-Husen was in Kilmer's Drawing 1 course and is currently in Turner's Art History and Painting 1 courses. Luby-Husen claims that both teachers have deeply influenced how she sees the world.
It's just the way I perceive the world around me, and like 3D objects in my head is completely turned around, because before I just like kind of drew whatever people, and now I'm like drawing things.
To see Kilmer and Turner's art show, Earth, Water, and Oil, head to Lifehouse Church, located at 1601 West Cedar Canyon Road on April 21st. The art show will open from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. In the meantime, the art teachers can be found in their respective rooms preparing for the event. For Studio 415, I'm Hudson Zom. That's all we have for today. Thanks for watching our live show.
If there's a story you would like us to cover, please let us know.
For all of us here at Studio 415, have a great week, Carroll.